If you're someone who's creating social media content, not only will this solution save you at least 10 hours every week, but it'll give you psychological insights into your audience or customer base that you can utilize the way you see best fit. This workflow takes your original social media content ideas, stores them within a visual front end and a back end database, then does research to retrieve the most relevant and most successful social media pieces created by other creators, to then break them down into social media content units, which are hooks, identifying which hooks they use, the retention type they use, the rewards they give their viewers to achieve such a successful post and get high engagement, stores that information into a database, then uses that information to generate your own content units based off of your original post idea that are optimized for engagement, to then store that into your database with extreme detail, and finally create an optimized structured post utilizing those optimized content units that it had generated beforehand. So that could be a text-based post, it could be a short form video script, and then for long form videos, I have it giving a generic high level breakdown of how you can segment the video and with timestamps to optimize your engagement throughout the duration of the entire video. The workflow is triggered by this very easy form. It literally takes me a minute to fill out. I put the title of the post or the idea, a couple sentences of regarding what I want the post to talk about, the type of content that I want this post to pertain to, so whether it's a long form video, short form video, long or short form text, then a few extra sentences which are as optional for additional context, so that the models have a more personalized understanding of what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to convey. Maybe I suggest a content unit. It's just additional context. I add my name and the platforms that I want to post this piece of content to. So that form submission would then trigger this workflow right here and would store the original idea within our database. Right now I'm using Google Sheets because I need to, once I get more robust data, I will move to vector data. So this workflow will get triggered, then it will store the original idea into our database. Then from there, it'll create a it'll come up with a keyword search and queries for these various platforms. Based off of the content type that I had selected on the form, it would scrape the platform relevant to the content type. So if I'm filming a long form video, it'll scrape YouTube for relevant posts. If I'm filming a short form video, it'll scrape Instagram or TikTok. Any text-based post will scrape through LinkedIn. I'm going to make this more robust over time, but you get the gist. Then some data transformation. Actually, the filter here will filter for view or for posts that have more than 20,000 views. And for LinkedIn, I have it set for posts that have over 75 likes, which is a lot on LinkedIn. Data transformation, then we get to this AI agent, which is taking the most successful and these posts that have made it to this point and meet those requirements and break them down into those content units like we mentioned before. And that would get stored into a database that looks something like this. So we see the actual views, the likes, the comments. We have a simple equation that identifies a post score, an engagement score, and once again, we have the link to the, once again, we are storing all of this information to then utilize it in the next step, which will be to create our own broken down and optimized content units and then store them into the database as well. So this would go across two sheets. So we have a more detailed sheet where it's storing the actual hook, but also the higher, more detailed version breakdown of the hook. So we have a topic type, the actual headline type, like an unusual hook paired with relevancy, unusual hook paired with proximity. You get the gist. We have the retention type, the theme of the retention type, the reward type, the question being raised for the viewer while they're reading or engaging with the post, and then a summary table that just is a leaner version of this original highly detailed breakdown of my post that correlates to that original idea. From there, once we have that stored, we are then going to pull and utilize all that information to get to this model, which will then take all of that and create a proposed post. And at this point, we have the actual the hook that we're going to use, the headlines that we're going to use, the retention type, the actual reward type, and then the high level breakdown. This is a long form video, but it's a high level breakdown of how I would film, or this is a short form video, high level breakdown of how I would film the post, and gives me a template, which saves me so much time and avoids the headache of just pressing play and figuring it out. From here, we would then have the workflow, take all that updated information and that highly detailed information in the backend database and store it into ClickUp and update the task itself within ClickUp to be able to see on a task like this one all of this information within. So at this point, instead of having just this raw idea with a low level of or a low amount of information, I would then be able to come into my database, see a list of proposed posts that have already been optimized and tested against other successful posts related to my topic. I would have a ton of those. Then I would just review those when I want to post something. I would make any fine tuning, or I would finalize, make some edits, or film the actual post itself. From there, I would determine if I need to get it edited, whether that's uploading it to a platform like Opus or having someone edit my long form video. And then finally, once it's scheduled or ready to post, I would put it into this section, which would then trigger another workflow that is consistently grabbing the analytics for the post. A few quick things to note. One, I'm using Google Sheets right now because, as you can see, my data is not very robust. I'm trying to adopt this process and eventually move towards a vector embedded database where I can utilize SQL functions as well as vector reg retrieval. Secondly, we have at every step of the way a bunch of identifiers. And this is really important because, as you can see, the idea ID is here. We have a hook ID, we have a retention ID, we have a reward ID, then we have a content unit ID, which pertains to the actual hook and retention and reward combination, to then get to the proposed post where you have the content unit ID stored on the proposed post. The idea here is to be able to create a traceable and correlational database that allows me to tie back the analytics of a given post to the original idea or a specific combination for a content unit. This kind of hook, a live topic type, does well with an emotional reward. Maybe a trending topic type with recency and unusual headline type does not do very well when paired with a story retention type and a knowledge reward type. As you can imagine, once the database has a ton more information, it will be very powerful. These insights will be very powerful in creating and streamlining the process to not only learn and get better and generate higher value and content that has a better chance of getting high engagement, but also it would allow me to enrich the model's ability to streamline this process and enhance the actual outputs that I would get, which are these review ready posts, as well as analyze some psychological behaviors of my audience to then funnel that information to targeted advertisement and maybe website and call to action engagement and success. There's a whole lot of stuff we could do here. All right, to showcase how this works, the functionality of the workflow, we're going to submit this form. And as you can see, when I go to the idea list, we then have that exact submission here, which is then going to trigger this workflow. And we'll see it running right here. We'll give it a sec to run. So as you can see here, the competitor research, the highly successful related content to our original idea was stored here with the actual title they used, the topic type, the headline type, the actual hook, the retention method, the reward type, And then you see the actual analytics with breakdown of summary statistics. And then when you go back here, you see this thing is still running. And now if we go here, we should see a few rows get populated. There you go. Perfect. So now we have our content unit, my simple two-stack for building apps as a non-developer. This AI workflow feels like a superpower for beginners. Unusual and relevancy. I don't know if that's unusual. It has an ID for the hook. Steps. AI powered development is the theme. Some sort of deliverable. What are the two tools? That's the question that's being raised. We have a summarized version. Let's double check that is this. There we go. We have all three content units there. So now instead of going from just a simple title, a couple lines for a description of the post, the content type, and some other context, I now have this, which is determining which platforms I want to post on. It has the actual post structure that is optimized. As you can see, hook, problem, retain. It has the hook here. It has my original ideas, the content type, the retention method, the reward method. And if I go into the database, I got all the related posts that were the most successful, broken down into topic types, titles, headline types, reward types, retention types, with the analytics and the identification that ties back to the idea, the original idea. I have the original idea here, the actual content units that it generated, the summary of the content units for retrieval. Disregard this these identifications. So then now all I have to do, come in here, look at the actual post it gave me, use it as a script, or if it's a LinkedIn post, legit copy and paste it into LinkedIn, fine tune it, finalize it, post it. If it's a video, I may add it into here. If it needs editing, if it doesn't need editing, I may just post it right away or schedule it, which would then trigger this automation. And then from there, the next step is to create an automation that can grab analytics on a daily basis or twice a day and update the analytics for that given post to then be able to get real-time insights on all of this in-depth information on one single post. For marketers, this is huge. If you're someone who's trying to build a personal brand, this is huge, especially not only from a standpoint of optimizing the engagement of your social media content and getting better at creating great content, but also from a psychological point, or psychologically, you get to understand as you post more and more about your audience and your clientele and your customer base to then use those insights to, once again, enhance your outreach and the effectiveness of your social media content, but get the most out of the stuff that you're actually spending money on, which is targeted advertisements and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching the video. If you made it this far, this is one segment of my marketing mega agent series where I'm trying to build essentially a Jarvis for marketing stemming from social media content generation. If you like this, be sure to stay tuned. And as a thank you, in the link below, /flowmatrix/free/ something else, I'm not sure what it is yet. Check it out. I have all my other videos plus a bunch of free downloadable workflows and solutions that you could start using today.